call the select board meeting to order for Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, 5 p.m. Please join me for Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance flag to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to everybody. All right. Here we are. It's a quick roll call. Chen, you're here. Hey, are you here? I see you. Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Okay. Where'd it go then? All right. So 5:02, we have a public hearing. What my clock here is 5:01. So we'll give ourselves a couple of seconds here. Like that. Now it's 5:02. All right, we have a public hearing for East Street National Grid to relocate one SO pole number 31 on East Street, beginning at point approximately 88 feet west of the center line of the intersection of South Street, approximately 15 feet east of the existing location, down the way of a driveway. Location approximately as shown on Plan East Street, GRANBY, Massachusetts, 30293231. All right. We should have Lisa from National Grid, correct?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, the floor is yours, Lisa.
Okay, thanks. We're just looking to relocate this pole out of the way of a new driveway for a new home going in. And it was just the most logical direction in which to move it was, I think it says you said 15 feet toward, it's actually towards South Street.
Okay. So it's basically the same area, just 15 feet going towards South Street. That's all, right? Okay. Right. Is there any questions at this time from the public? Okay, not hearing any. At this time, we'll close the public hearing portion of it. I don't know. I don't see any reason why not to approve it. I mean, we're just moving the pole 15 feet to accommodate the new driveway.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to move it either.
Jay, anything?
Nope.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion at this time to allow National Grid to relocate the pole number 31.
I move to allow National Grid to relocate SO pole number 31 on East Street, approximately 15 feet.
Is there a second?
I'll second Jim's motion.
Thank you, Jay. Any further discussion at this time? Not hearing any. All in favor? Aye.
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 First one is now approved.
Thank you.
A little ahead of schedule, so Chris, do you have anything you need to bring up?
I got a couple items.
All right, well, yeah, bring a couple things up. We have till 5:12 for the next public hearing.
You guys hear me from across the table from Glenn?
Yeah.
All right, the first item is today I had a meeting, I attended a meeting of the Hampton and South Hadley Veterans District. The town wants to rejoin the district, make it South Hadley Hampton GRANBY Veterans District. They did.
Chris, you're cutting in and out.
All right.
I can move this.
All right. As I said, today I met with the representatives from the East Hampton, South Hadley Veterans District. We town of Granby wants to rejoin the district because we've been having issues with being able to get a permanent VSO officer. Currently, Michael Slater, who is the director of that district, has been kind enough to give time to us to service our veterans. The district directors voted to allow Granby to rejoin the district. However, they need to go back to their governing boards, which is the select board in South Hadley and the mayor in East Hampton, to get their approval to allow us to join. Hopefully they will allow it, and we will now then be a member of that district. Okay. The other item is I had received an email from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission regarding a trails grant. Basically what they want to do is create a map that will be put out on the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission's website with locations of all the trails in Western Mass, so that people will have a place to go so that they can be able to go out and exercise during this pandemic. The only problem I have, it's because we don't have anybody who could go along the trails giving GPS coordinates. It'll cost us $2,500 for someone from Pioneer Valley Planning to come out and do it. And I don't have $2,500 in my budget. However, if the board wishes to proceed, then we would just have to try and figure a way of paying for it and maybe coming for a supplemental appropriation subsequent to that.
I mean, I think it's a good idea to have. We don't have anybody in town on our payroll that can go out with them.
What was that, Jim?
Yeah, it's just, I can't turn my speaker up.
Oh, sorry. I think it's a good idea that we do become involved with this. Not only will it bring people to the trails, it'll bring people to the town who will then partake in stores, convenience stores, restaurants, the ones that we have, things like that. But we don't have anybody on payroll that could go out with them and map this with them.
You hear that, Chris?
The only one I know of, Jen, would be Dave DeRozier, because I know he does GPS location of all of these culverts and things that he's been.
Okay. Do they know approximately how long it would take to map it all?
Oh no, I think someone's going to have to walk the trails and take GPS points on.
Right, but I guess, do we have an estimate of how many trails we're going to map?
That's what you would need to tell me. You know, the 2,500, I think, hold on. Okay, the in-kind match of $2,500 would involve up to 76 hours of time over the year from staff and possibly volunteers. And basically, that's all it says. Okay, then they have a cash match of the, we could do, because we don't have someone who could go out and do that. Will enable PVPC staff to review and update trails information, and also would entail up to 18 hours of GPS work on trails or conversion of PDF paper maps for up to 6 trails.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Neither the state nor the town has a budget yet. So we really don't know if we have any extra funds or we're gonna fall short. So I wouldn't be in favor of spending anything until we know where we are. That way we can know where we can go.
When do we have to decide this by, Chris?
Our commitment letter was due by last week.
Oh,
But I'm sure, Jim, if we had to, I could contact them and let them know I was on vacation and it wasn't brought before the board because you didn't meet until tonight anyway.
yeah, that would probably be best because if it was last week, they may not even let us still join this.
How long would it take for them to put this all together? I mean, if they're saying, well, this could take over a year to put the whole map thing together and have it on a PDF. I mean, it'd be nice to have it, but I mean, and is there need for it really? For what do we really have for areas? We have Dufresne Park, the areas back there. You know, what I guess what that consists of in the town as far as what would they be?
We have
mapping?
all the trails off of Bachelor Street.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them are mapped. We've got Dufresne's Park. I believe there's some trails back at Sand Plains Park.
But I'm wondering, are these trails that have been just made over the years, or they've been trails that? That's what I'm wondering. It just were the actual made trails to be used, or they're just trails that have been created?
Bachelor Street, I believe, were DCR. I don't even know if they were DCR created, but they're well-worn, known trails. People come all the time to them.
But would those be included as part of the Mount Holyoke Mountain Range trail system?
Probably.
Well,
Probably.
Are they mapped somewhere else?
I don't know if they're already mapped.
You know, the only ones I was thinking of were the ones that do Dufresne Park. Because I think there's what, about 3 or 4 there, aren't there?
I think we have some unanswered questions as far as what would be mapped anyways, and instead of spending money that we're not allocated to spend right now.
Might be better to get more info.
Yeah, and if we miss it, I'm sure that something will probably come up in the future as well. And again, how long it's going to take them to do this? I mean, we're talking about, you know, if it's something done quick where it can be utilized by people this summer, great. But if this, you know, if this is something that's going to take a year from them to produce, then.
Well, Chris did say we could use some volunteers. Maybe we could put out something that any of the people who currently walk the trails in Dufresne Park want to volunteer some of their time.
They'd need to be familiar with GPS coordinate.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you can do GPS from your cell phone.
No, I understand that. But not everybody knows how to use them.
So there is a map of Dufresne Park in the trails and stuff like that. I don't know if everybody can kind of see this here, but there is already a process, a map out there. The difference is I don't know if it's been GPS or not, but I don't know. I just don't see a need right now to spend the money unless we have more information to speak to it. So.
No, I agree. I like the idea of having it out there that people can see and take interest in, but I don't necessarily, with all the questions that we have regarding what trails and where, don't know that we need to be spending.
All right. So I think it's fair to say the board wants to wait then. Okay.
I'd like to get some answers to those questions, but yes, that would probably necessitate waiting.
Okay. All right. All right, well, you're kind of moved past the 5:12 point, so we're at 5:15. So what we call the public hearing to order for same as with National Grid to relocate a pole. So national hearing is for Amherst Street National Grid to install one SO pole on Amherst Street, beginning at the point approximately 65 feet north of the center line, intersection of Keyser Drive, installed mid-span pole between poles 43 and 44 to provide service to a new home located at 193. Location approximately shown on plan, Amherst Street, Granby, Massachusetts, 299-47916. Lisa?
Yes.
You're
So,
up.
okay, thanks. So this pole is just really going to be the takeoff pole to bring power into 193. There's not a great way to access it. If we go from the pole just north of this proposed location, bringing in a pole line would put kind of an anchor into the driveway of the house that we're going to be feeding. And you can't go to the other side of the driveway because then you're, I believe, onto the neighbor's property. So then the pole before it, south of this location, there are already two primary taps off of. We don't have any room to add an extension off of it. So that's why I'm proposing this pole in between.
All right. Is there any comments from the audience at all? Okay, not hearing any. We'll close the portion of the public hearing at this time. I'll leave it up to the board at this point. Does anybody see an issue or concern with the location of the pole being added?
I don't have an issue with it.
I don't either.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion for it. Fine.
I'll move to allow National Grid to install one SO pole on Amherst Street, beginning at a point approximately 65 feet north of the center line of the intersection of Keyser Drive. Install midspan pole between poles 43 and 44 to provide service to a new home at number 193.
I'll second Jen's motion.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Any further discussion at this time? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Lisa, thank you. Appreciate that. You're all set.
All right. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
My next part coming up at 5:20 is the police chief, update on policies. Thank you. Chief Richard, thank you for joining us. I'd like to proceed with the proposed update.
Yes, first of all, thanks for putting us on the agenda. It's kind of a timely matter for us that we need to get taken care of. As you probably have read or heard, the state just passed a criminal justice reform bill that's going to do a lot of different things related to the field of law enforcement and the criminal justice system in itself. Part of that legislation also dictates, how we do things and what we do things. And one of the things that we're going to need to do is to change our policies to reflect a few of the changes in the law. And part of that is tied to whether or not we'll be able to get grants. So the policies that have been drawn up rather, reflect those. And if it's okay with Chris and the board, I'd actually like Lieutenant O'Grady to talk about them. He's the one who did the changes. He's done the research with the group that will be certifying our policies. So he is by far the best person suited to talk about them and answer any questions if you'd allow that.
Sure, I have no issues with that.
No issues here.
Lieutenant O'Grady?
Good evening. So like Chief said, they have changed the rules, the law actually, and the credentialing that we're talking about. We have to have this language in our policies in order to qualify for the credentialing, which allows us to get federal grants. So in the letter we drew up, as well as the policies, I highlighted the changes that we are looking to make. Basically, right now, the law instantly, when the governor signed it, put a ban on chokeholds. De-escalation tactics must be used prior to any use of force. Officers have a duty to intervene for if somebody's using excessive force, and they have a duty to report it and document it. And then there's also a policy on, or an update about mass demonstration protocols, where you can't just use pepper spray abundantly, or we don't have them, but the beanbag shells. So I adopted the language from some legal law enforcement attorneys. I put them into the policy, and I showed it to the chief as well as the union, and everybody was okay with these changes. So we're asking that you accept them and approve them so we can put them out to the department, as well as I can move forward with going for the credentialing so that we don't miss any time period for the DOJ grants.
What is the time frame these need to be changed by?
The credentialing we have to have in by January 31st. Unfortunately, the president signed his executive order back in June, but we were waiting for the state to give us what the reform would be, because the ban on chokeholds in the state of Massachusetts is a complete ban, where the federal ban is unless life or death. And we don't have that exception. So until the governor signed the Police Reform Act, we didn't know what Massachusetts would be. So this whole credentialing thing has been on hold. I've been in contact with the people since early December, and we finally got the proper language so that we can move forward.
Can I just add something real quickly? Just so we're super crystal clear, this is already in effect. This is the Massachusetts state law. Everything that you're looking at is mandated that we do. So regardless of whether our policy agrees with it or not, it's the law. That's the standard that we're held to. We're just bringing our local policies, our local standards, to reflect what the law says. So whether we adopt these or not, it's what we're being held to.
Right. You're held to the standard regardless.
Correct. But the only way we can get credentialing is that language has to be in there.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Is there any need for our town council just to review it to make sure that, obviously we're just taking it off what the law is, what the governor has already signed into law, but is there a need for us to have it reviewed just to make sure the town is protected?
I don't believe so. This language, like I said, this is from the credentialing agency, as well as I've also looked at the Chelsea Police Departments. That's one of the major references they use. Their chief is actually an attorney. So their policy is in place, and I actually have that as well. Most of the language came between those two places. Actually, most of the language was from Chelsea, because that's what the Massachusetts credentialing, Massachusetts Post Accreditation Company is using.
And that, just for a little bit of insight, Chief Kais from Chelsea is an attorney, and the document that they provided to us didn't come from Chelsea. It came from the Mass Chiefs of Police Association as a suggested policy. So having it vetted You're not gonna find anybody better suited to vet that.
Yep, okay. And that's good to know. Thank you. Yep. Ben or Jay, you have any questions?
I don't.
No, I don't.
I don't have any further questions. I don't have any concerns either. Also, Lieutenant Grady spoke to, the chief spoke to, it sounds like it's been vetted well, especially by the Police Chiefs Association already. And I know they're held to a high standard as well, so. Sorry about the noise there, doorbell's ringing. Yeah, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't adopt them. We take a motion at this point to adopt the updated policies.
I move to approve the updated policies in the use of force and crowds and demonstrations.
I'll second Jane's motion.
Is there any further discussion this time? All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Joe.
Thank you.
Our next 5:30, and I'm assuming it is the chief that just ring the doorbell to get in. Chris, anything else you want to bring up quickly before we have the fire chief? No, he's not scheduled for a couple of minutes. Good, how are you, sir?
No, nothing. Well, I just do maintenance warrants.
Do that, sure. You want to go over? Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, we have 3 warrants in front of you for approval tonight. First one is warrant number 42 in the amount of $438.
Oh, that's all.
Turn your volume down, probably on your speaker.
Then still get a feedback.
Well, I was hearing it on mine too.
It's gone now.
All right, the first one is warrant number 42, dated January 8th, 2021, in the amount of $438,813.66. That is a payroll warrant. We have warrant number 43 in the amount of $228,188.65, dated January 8th, 2021. That is the maintenance warrant that goes along with the payroll. Then we have warrant number 44 in the amount of $195,540.22, dated January 15th, 2021, and that is a bill payment warrant.
Thank you, Chris. Would you like to make a motion on those?
I'll move to approve warrants number 42, 43, and 44.
Is there a second?
I'll second Jane's motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. You're all set. Dan or Jay, one of you has to come down and sign these. All right. 5:30, we're gonna have our fire chief. By the way, it's our last select board meeting. We had some questions regards to the billing for the ambulance. Chief's gonna speak to that.
There you go. Okay. What can I answer tonight? Glenn, you want me to go a little bit?
Yeah, you can please do.
I'm just coming close to a microphone. Okay. Chief, what it is on a monthly basis, we get a report from the ComStar billing service. Correct. Basically, it's a report asking us to make a determination of what we want to do with past due accounts. They call it a cumulative disposition report. In it, they ask us to either write it off, turn it over to collection. If there's other issues, to bill at a Medicare billing cycle. We just went through this in our last meeting. We addressed quite a few of them. We had a concern over a lot of the accounts were showing that the primary payer was the patient and the secondary payer was the patient. And we just were trying to figure out, do we always get the insurance information from the patient? And if we don't get it, do we ever follow up with the patient or with to try and find out if there may be a insurance plan that we could bill? Because these bills run to $2,000 to $2,500 a piece or a run for an advanced ALS run. And we're just trying to figure out, do we do any type of a monitoring to look first to see if the insurance company has been identified, and if it hasn't, do we contact the patient to see if this information was overlooked when they were brought to the hospital? And if so, how do we go about addressing that situation?
It's the responsibility of the transporting paramedic EMT when they arrive at the hospital, the receiving hospital, is they should get all insurance information from that patient. And then they should have this patient sign. This is especially important with Medicare patients, okay, because Medicare doesn't like to pay without that authorized signature. So motor vehicle accidents, sometimes that may not be possible to get that information from the patient, but you know, I would hope that the technician, the paramedic would do due diligence, you know, follow up with the police officer and say, hey, can you provide me with insurance information here? And then once that report comes back and leaves their hands, I don't believe that the paramedic technician has any follow-up with it. Okay, that again, being relatively new here, you know, I'm just getting a feel for how this ComStar billing works, and what I'd like to find out is again, you know, are we getting that information? That's the transporting paramedic EMT, that's their responsibility to get that information. If it's unavailable, I'm not sure how we followed up in the past. So that's something I will look at and say, all right, how do we fix this? Okay, are any of these patients previous patients of ours where we may have insurance information on file, and that we would have to look to ComStar, the billing authorization, or the billing people to get that. But again, I'm not sure where it goes after that. So I think Comstar bills. I know other agencies do send it off to a collection agency, and they've had pretty good response on that. But it's difficult for me to say right here and now what the situation is.
All right. Well, I guess if you could, Chief, and follow up on that, a little more information for us in regards to it. Our concern is that, we do have the ability to send it off to a collection agency. The downside is that they collect a portion of it. So if that person had insurance and it's sent off and they do their work and then they collect the amount owed to them, they take their portion and then we get ours.
Right.
So I guess we're looking at, is there a follow-up mechanism for us? So if, if the information wasn't received, is there something that we can put into our playbook, if you will, to obtain that information? So maybe if it says, patient was asked, no insurance indicated. So we know that there was a response from the patient that there's no insurance. It's not just left blank, because that way we know if it wasn't indicated, there could be a follow-up, and maybe we can come up with a process to have a follow-up to obtain that information.
I think just had his on screen.
Gene, do you have anything to follow up with that?
Yeah, I do. Just let me explain a couple things, just because I'm involved directly in that. So when we do a call, the paramedic or whoever is the lead EMT on the call gets the insurance information available at the time from either the patient or the hospital with the receiving facility. And that includes on MVCs, on car accidents on scene, they'll get whatever they can off of the car vehicle from the registration or the plate number. That's what we need for car insurance, for their info, because any motor vehicle collision is billed to the car insurance, which is the best paying insurance there is, by the way. So yes, we do collect that. If we don't get it directly on scene, we are easily obtain that directly from the police department dispatcher. And they're really good about giving everything we need on that, because they're also looking it up for, running the plates and everything else. When they get to the hospital, if they do not have pictures of their cards, whatever their cards are, they have to bring me a medical face sheet, which is provided by the hospital. And I do get 100% of the face sheets. I take them back when I review the call. I have a Mitsubishi high-speed scanner in my office. I scan the face sheet into the run report and I send that off to Comstar. Comstar then takes that information and processes it. Anybody for some reason who gives bad information, incorrect information, the hospital had a bad face sheet for some reason, they send direct mailings to them, at least 3 of them, before they threaten to go to collection with them. And that's where your small group is, that we're not getting the reimbursement on. It's not Blue Cross, it's not Medicaid, and it's not Medicare, because the chief and I had a meeting last week with Comstar reviewing everything. And we know our percentage collected right now. Blue Cross right now is 95.96%. Medicaid is 92.27%. Medicare, we're at 98.78% collection rate. Where we're falling in some of the other areas are the self-paid, where you really trying to get, blood out of a stone. We're trying to get whatever we can. I'm just looking at our last figures here. Our total allowables were 29,659. We collected 6,256, which basically gives us a percentage of only 2109 collected. So yeah, there's some areas there, but the Comstar is great at doing whatever they can to follow up with whatever our guys don't get, whatever I for some reason, if I get bad information for the hospital, they follow up and make sure they get every dime they can. So I hope that answers your question. I haven't been involved with the write-off part of it in Granby. Used to be involved with it in South Hadley, and I know you got to kind of look at those incident by incident, and you guys determine what's your criteria for when you're just going to let it go. I don't know what that is with Granby right now. I haven't been involved in that.
Right.
I hope that answers your question.
So the follow-up is done by Comstar.
Correct.
So if they receive something, if there's no information, do they actually follow up or no?
Yes, at least 3 times. They're sent at least 3 letters. I believe they're certified letters, but don't quote me on that. Asking for the information, saying, look, you send us your information, we will go after every dime we can from your insurance companies that you provide those numbers, and anything left, you know, will be your responsibility. But they follow up and go through every single run we do. Every single.
No, they don't.
Is that in our contract with Comstar or MOU with Comstar?
Yes, it's in our contract with them. Yeah, that's what Comstar is there for. That's what they do, is they go after the money. And we, you know, I think the chief is sitting right there with you. We have phenomenal numbers for what we've been doing. I guess it's just, as Jenna, who's the account manager, said, some of these write-offs are a cost of doing business. You know, we never get our total charges out there because of Medicaid, Medicare reimbursement rates. But what's allowable, I'll give you for the time period between 7/1/19 and 6/30/2020. Total allowable was $349,416.94. Of 349, we got 328,426 collected. 93.99% collection, and that's pretty damn good. I know the chief has a lot of this data with him to share with you. We got total breakdowns. I actually thought this meeting was about something else, so I'm a little off guard on that. I'm just kind of regurgitating what we just received from Jenna. I thought we were also going to talk about raising our ambulance service fees. That's what we were going to do, but that's up to what you guys want to do.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes.
One of the issues that we had is on that list for disposition, there is a run that was listed. The issue is that the parent of the child that was provided the service did go to Comstar and provide insurance information, but that never was reported by Comstar on that account, and it was being turned over for the full amount to be written off or turned over to collection.
Okay.
And we have a concern with that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I don't know the individual cases. I haven't been briefed on them, so I'm at a little disadvantage right now on that one.
I know another issue that we had too, and I don't know if it's reporting from Comstar or the EMT that's out there, but some of the information was like wrong, or wasn't have a full Social Security number or something. Something was incorrect. It started off with like a dash mark, and I'm sure that's instead of a number. I'm sure that's an error from Comstar at their point. Some of the like numbers weren't even there.
Yeah.
One of an issue that we have that we need to make sure we have that information, or is that something Comstar is not giving us correctly the seats we get?
One of the concerns we had is one of the accounts, I believe the patient was only 7 days old, and you're billing the child and not the parent of the child. And I think that was a concern on our part also.
Yeah,
when you look at the date of birth that is associated with the account, you look at that compared to the date of the run, I think one of them, it was only a 7-day-old person.
And that very well could be that person hasn't been added to an insurance policy yet. So you're right.
Okay.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, individual problems we need to look at and go directly to Comstar and say, hey, what the hell's going on here? I agree with you, because one of the beauties of getting a medical record from the facility is not specifically the information on it, but the fact that you have a medical record number. So I or Comstar or anybody can now access that patient's records backwards the other way from our end or Comstar's end by having that medical record number. Without that medical record number on that form, you're not allowed anything. You have no access. So that's the importance, and that's why we have that, and they're able to get to everything. So if stuff like that comes up, we really need to be made aware so we can correct it. Because, like I said, I didn't know about this stuff. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Gene, Do we
Yep.
have anything in place that ensures runs are completely accurate and filled in as much as possible before they go to Comstar?
Yes, me.
So we're double checking, making sure their social is there, any information.
I have to go through every single run will not be allowed to be completed because there's things highlighted in red they have to have. So they can't get out of the run in the first place. They can't transmit it. They can't. What's transmitting is basically printing your run report that goes to the hospital, whichever the receiving facility is. For me to process the billing to go to Comstar, I have to go through every single piece of that run report. And that's where I'm taking those medical records that they're getting printed, their face sheets, and I scan them in, I attach them to the run report, I make sure all the demographics are correct. I go in there and I check to see what that base sheet has versus what's in the run report that they put in, you know, cross numbers up and do things like that. And I go through every single solitary piece, and there's another piece on our end that's really important for Medicare and Medicaid is in signature compliance by the patient, which I also have to make sure is there. So I have probably 20 different steps in every single run we do that I have to go through and then move forward to another section, then moving forward to another section before it goes off to Comstar for billing.
What are the required pieces of information before it can be sent?
Oh Lord, there's I really believe me, I believe it's close to 100 data points they have to hit. Literally,
okay, because we saw multiples that had no social.
It's not that it's impossible to not have a social. They might not have a correct social. I'll give you
No,
that.
there's all zeros across the board or blanks. Nothing in that form. I would say we ran across maybe 4 or 5 of those.
We gotta, I gotta see that stuff. I really do. I need to see that because it won't let it go through. So I don't know if it was also, well, here again, I'm talking about Ambu Pro, which when you made me ambulance director and I took over from Mike, I put in a different program, the Ambu Pro program. The other one, which I despised, we got rid of for a reason. So if you're talking older stuff, it's a possibility.
No, I'm talking the last year.
Is it really? All right.
Yes.
I need to, if I could please see it. Like I said, I'm actually in Florida right now, so I can't, I just need to see what you're talking about and I can rectify it and see what's going on. And I want to know from Comstar as well, what the hell's going on, because that stuff from the EMT's level to me, to them, it shouldn't be getting to you at all. It should all be rectified. So.
All right, Gene, I mean, that's something we can do when you get back. That's something we can look at, the information that we're talking about. And
yeah, I'd love to see the individual runs you're talking about and see what failed, because you're right. If we have a failure somewhere or something's going through to a certain point and then getting mixed up in some way, I need to know that.
Yeah.
We had a great meeting with Comstar the other day online, and they're like, you know, they love and everything's going great and this and that, but you know, if there's something that we need to know about, we need to bring that up right away.
And who has the Comstar contract copy? Do you have that, Chris?
Chris, that was you. The Comstar, we have the Comstar contract?
Yeah, there is a contract with Comstar, yes.
Oh, you have it, right?
No, I don't.
Don't have it. Okay.
Who has it?
I never got the contract. It was entered into, I think it was Chief Anderson, and I never got a copy of the contract. I don't know where that.
Okay, we need a copy of that.
Okay, right, Jen. I think that'd be a good thing for us to review the contract, look at, if there's things that need to be tightened up, if it's on our end or it's on, Comstar's end, then we need to address that with them. So, because if we're providing them the correct information, and then when that comes back to us, the information is either incorrect or missing, well, that's on them. So that's something we need to follow up on.
Yep.
So, Gene, when you get back, that's something we sit down with and the chief kind of show you the information that we're talking about so you can actually see it.
That's what I was just going to request. I would like to see these documents that you've received, so we can go back and compare it to the actual run reports and see what information, was it on the report? It wasn't. It might have just been something at Comstar wasn't entered correctly or something. But that's, I think, what we need to do is see the actual paperwork that you're referring to.
Right, and I think that makes sense, because obviously you don't know what we're talking about unless we actually show it to you, so you can see it. And you said, we'll figure out, if it's an issue with ComStar, then we'll, follow up with them. If it's something that we're doing, then we'll need to tighten up what we're doing.
It could be us. It could just be a stick on a computer that not taking, how you start typing and things don't get in.
Yeah.
It might be a bad key on the computer that we're not getting information in, but it should get picked up by Gene when he reviews that report.
Right, that's all. I guess we're, as the select board, we do see some errors that have come across to us. I just want to find out, not blame, but where they're made, and so we can get them corrected.
Absolutely.
So we don't have those concerns moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, and moving forward, I just want to add one other thing. In addition to all that, we really do need to have a talk about our rates and what we're charging right now moving forward. And the chief has information with him, or he can get you on where we stand, when we last did a rate change, where we possibly really should be. I think we're a little low across the board in all our BLS, ALS rates. Definitely our mileage rates are down there compared to others in the area. Chief did a lot of work collecting data and things from the Chiefs Association. We have all the surrounding town data, so we need to look at that. And I don't know if I have a form that they gave me that I was hoping you guys had. That's what I really thought the meeting was about. Well, can we get that on the agenda sometime in the near future? Because that needs to be done for our 2021 rates. It's really important in our reimbursement rates for Medicare, Medicaid, because you only get a certain percentage of the reimbursement. If you're charging it too low, you're getting much lower reimbursement, obviously. And now's the time to change that and bump that up while we can.
Yeah, I would agree, Gene. Absolutely, you need to make sure that we're comparable to surrounding cities and towns and other companies as well.
For the rates, the prior boards before you had got on had constructed the fire chief to increase the rates the same amount that the budget increased. You could turn around and submit new rates to ComStar on an annual basis after their budget was approved every year. Okay?
And that has not been being done?
I don't know. I don't know that. That was left up to the fire chief. And basically, when the budget went up 3%, your rates went up 3%. If the budget went up, %4% or 2% or whatever, we should be adjusting those rates by that percentage every year and submitting that to ComStar.
Do we have that in the minutes someplace where it was?
I don't know what those minutes are.
Yeah.
Well, let me just,
Before.
can I just hop in?
Chief Mitchell or?
Actually, it started under Henderson.
It's at the Anderson. But also we're being fair to ourselves that we're charging the correct amount.
Right. Exactly.
Can I just say that our 2020 ambulance billing rates as of right now, we're using the rates as of 2/1/2018. And I have that in writing, and so does the chief. So that's why I'm bringing up the point that we need to look at this and make a quick
We'll put on our agenda to look at that. So obviously the chief and yourself go out and look at the information. It sounds like you've kind of put some of that information together already. So we'll get that on our agenda in the near future, as well as the other part with the information as far as ComStar. Maybe put it all together for. And present it to the board. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can send it to us beforehand for us to review before the meeting, but be helpful to have it, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
It's something we can look at and go from there.
Perfect.
Jen or Jay, do you have anything further with regards to that?
No, I'm good for now. Compared to what's being entered.
Right.
That we're ahead of the game for the next time.
Well, I agree with you.
I'll see you next week. Take care.
Yeah. Have a good night. All right. Just quickly, I know it's not on our agenda. I don't see it, but I just want to make sure that there's any public participation from anybody.
Yes, there's participation in plural appointments.
That's next, Glenn.
Oh, well, I think right on time. I missed it. There you go. I was looking for it up top. Usually it's up top, so. A quick start to the meeting and a couple of things, so good. Citizen participation again. Is there anybody needs to bring up anything at this time? Okay, not hearing any. I'll take it as a no. All right, and we'll continue to move forward. Chris, I'll turn over to you.
All right, I talked about those two. The only other item I had for tonight is, as part of the municipal vulnerability program grant, have to meet on. Right now, I have Dave DeRozier, myself, and Amanda Smith as members. I'm proposing for the planning board, Jim Trumke. For the select board, Jen Silva, because she has the time to devote. The makeup of the committee, as I would propose it, to be used as part of this MVP grant.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize all the names. I don't see a concern with any of them. Thank you to everybody that's going to take part in it.
Yeah, I'd like to have them confirmed through June 30th of 2020.
Chris, have you checked with Emery in the past week or
No,
so?
I haven't checked with him, but I figured once I do him, he can let me know if there's another board member who you'd rather have represent.
Okay, because that's most likely what's going to be happening.
I do know that he's been trying to back away a little, but I'd rather have Chairman nominate and then let that come back.
Yeah, no, I spoke to him today, and he'll be making an announcement at the school committee meeting today.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be looking at a different member for the school committee.
You want to connect with the school board, school committee and find out a member before we just appoint people? I'd rather do this so we get a confirmation.
I'll tell you what, I'll just leave that one blank for now.
Okay.
Until we can get another name.
We can do that. Okay. All right.
Is he planning on resigning if he can, or? Okay, thank you.
Hope people see this before they see the school committee meeting.
Well, I'm praying that they're not going to.
All right. Does anyone want to make a motion regarding the appointment?
I move to appoint those mentioned by Chris Martin for the MVP
Advisory group.
advisory group. Thank you. I couldn't think of those words.
I'll second Jen's motion.
All in favor to affirm said name to the advisory board?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There we go. All right. Chris, moving forward.
Okay, you have departmental reports?
Are there any questions, concerns, comments in regards to the departmental reports?
I still haven't seen a highway department one.
All right, I'll send David an email, let him know.
Thank you.
We have a new employee, I see.
In maintenance, yeah.
Is he gonna be the part-timer or for the summer, or is he just gonna be year round? I didn't know.
He's a full-timer year-round.
Is he replacing somebody or just a complete new hire?
No, this is a position that was budgeted for in the public buildings budget. What's happening is we're trying to get another person so that when Jeremy goes on vacation, we have someone who's in basic maintenance in his stead. And that's what we're doing. We're currently training in the various systems, and so he can perform some of the basic maintenance when Jeremy's not available.
Anything else in regards to the departmental reports? This time we'll entertain a motion to accept the departmental reports.
I'll move to accept the departmental reports.
I'll second Jen's motion.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the, to approve and sign the common vic licenses for 2021.
Okay, you have number 21-16, Cynthia Maloney, doing business as Cindy's Drive-In, 455 East State Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, expiring December 31st, 2021, fee of $25. You have number 21-17, Fairview Sportsman's Fishing Game Association, Inc., 280 Carver Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, expiring December 31st, 2021, fee $25. You have number 21-18, RZ Granby Convenience Inc., 30 West State Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, expiring December 31st, 2021, fee $25. We have number 21-19, Ryan Voiland, doing business as Red Fire Farm, 7 Carver Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, expiring December 31st, 2021, fee $25.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. With Cindy's Drive-In, does the board wish to, I know they're a restaurant, I know more of a seasonal restaurant, but it's still a restaurant. And I know at our previous meeting, when we approved the licenses for the restaurants that were in town, we waived the fee. That's something we'd like to do here as well.
I would agree to waiving the fee for Cindy's.
Yep.
I do think they're a very good restaurant. Thank you very much.
As long as they're a restaurant, they should all be treated the same.
All right. Jen, would you like to make the motion?
I will move to approve licenses 21-16 through 21-19, common vics, with the exception of Cindy's Drive-In with no fee.
I will second Jen's motion.
Thank you, Jay. Any further discussion at this time? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Next we have entertainment licenses for 2021.
We have number 21-03, Red Fire Farm, Ryan Voiland, 107 Carver Street, Granby, Mass. 01033. It's an entertainment license for live entertainment consisting of a DJ or small bands, 12 p.m. till 6 p.m. only. August 2021, Tomato Festival to be located at 7 Carver Street, Granby, Mass. License expires December 31st, 2021. Fee is $50.
Ben?
What?
Would you like to make a motion?
Oh, sorry. I'm tired today. I move to approve the entertainment license as read by Chris.
Is there a second?
I will second Jen's motion.
Any further discussion in regards to the license? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Chris, do you have anything else before we move into old business?
No.
All right. Move right along into the old business. The update on the 202 water main project.
I still have nothing on my end.
I
don't know if. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead, Jen. You finish.
Oh, I don't know if the board hasn't met yet and he just doesn't want to respond until he has an answer, but I have heard nothing.
Does the board wish me to try and contact Mr. Sear and see what's going on?
Yeah, I'd like to have some follow-up. Yeah.
I don't want to step on your toes, Jen, but, you know.
I've sent 3 emails.
Okay.
All right. Has there been any feedback from the letters that we sent out to our local state officials?
Nothing.
We haven't heard from any of the reps or senators yet?
No.
Well, my recommendation is that if we don't hear anything by our next meeting, we send up a follow-up. We send out a follow-up letter in regards to the first letter we sent out, but also noting maybe some disappointment from this board and that, speaking for our town, at least getting back to us in regards to some follow-up to us. Regardless, I think it'd be nice if we just got some type of follow-up from them. Whether, there's what the state's doing if they move forward, or that's something that's, due to the budget and stuff like that, that's something we need to wait on or anything. Just some type of acknowledgement that the letters were received and there's some type of follow-up to us, to the town and the board. I mean,
Again, would you like me to maybe, we had mailed it to each of their offices, maybe this time use an email address and do it that way, so that we can show that at least, and ask them, did you receive this through the mail? Because we know how sometimes the mail is. Just send a scanned copy of it to them via email and ask them if they had received it, and just please respond if they can assist us in our approach.
Yep, I think so. That was actually gonna be my follow-up before that, is to reach out to them once again, regards to, like I said, an email. I think it's a good avenue to do so. And in reference, we did send a letter on such and such date. Please see the attachment. Looking for some feedback from your office.
Okay.
So we sent it to Mindy, Dan, and Eric, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Sound good, Jane? That sound good?
yeah, I was just gonna say, you guys gave me an action at the last select board meeting, and I sent you a copy of the transportation improvement program. You should have got that. Kathy forwarded to you.
Yep.
That brings you all the way out to 2026, and they are breaking ground on from South Hadley to 54 West State Street in the spring of 2021.
Interesting. The spring of 2021 is like 2.5 months away.
2 months away.
That's right. And I've been saying that all
in
along.
regards to it.
And I've been saying that all along.
Well, interesting piece is too that I know it's in the process, they're close, but the state hasn't finalized their complete budget, right? It wasn't signed off by the governor.
Yeah.
It hasn't been signed off.
I believe it's done.
They're close. Okay. And from my understanding, the revenue was decent revenue for the past year. Pretty much more than what they were expecting. Hopefully, maybe the problem year, maybe next year, unfortunately. But again,
Well, I can forward you an email that says, and I don't know if the email is truthful or not, but I can forward it to you, that they're using 2019 funds, and they're going from South Hadley line all the way to Five Corners, 2 miles.
yeah, well, it sounds like if they appropriated the funds back then, and they're holding to that, and that's what they're going to spend the funds somewhere else, they're going to use it. But again, I think there should be some communication if they're talking this spring. Maybe we can have Dave Drosser follow up with his contacts and see, because it'd be helpful information to have that.
On that email that I forwarded you from PVPC, within that email, there was also a link on the people that are representative per community on the JTC. And Dave DeRocher is Granby's primary point of contact, but there is no alternate listed. I would recommend whoever is the Granby primary commissioner, because they come out of the planning board, be the alternate on that.
Yeah, we definitely have to, it makes sense to have an alternate to it, but yeah. But I'd like to, reach out to Dave and see if there's some follow up with the state and the DOT to, because we need to get some information and have some communication with people as well as we need to move forward with the town of South Hadley too in regards to the water. So we need some time frames, some dates and things like that, because if we're going to move forward on this, we need to move forward sooner than later.
Know where we are.
I did talk to Dave DeRocha today. He's left voice messages, but nobody has returned any to him yet.
Okay.
When I got the email, I sent it out to you guys and to him, and I followed up with him this morning. And nobody's gotten back to him. Silence is golden, whether it's politicians, South Hadley, or whatever. And we're being left out
around here.
Yeah, we're left out in the cold.
All right. Well, I'll ask Chris to reach out to Dave tomorrow. Get a hold of Dave and move from there.
Well, like I said, Dave has left voice messages, but nobody has returned any of his voice messages.
Yeah. Again, we'll have Chris reach out to contact Dave tomorrow.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're going to start in the spring, I don't know how we're going to get everything done that we need to be done to start putting the pipes in. We don't have a contractor. We don't have nothing because they proceeded without us. I don't know who gave them permission to proceed without us.
Well, like I said, we need to follow up on it too. If that's kind of what you said, Jay, but is that a true date? You know, is it going to be spring? Is it is it March? Is it April? Is it May? Or is it June? Or is that something that could be postponed?
Right.
I haven't seen anybody out doing anything on 202 as far as if they can look at doing construction. You know, you see all the.
I haven't seen any marking or anything.
Usually start to see that kind of stuff, and I haven't seen anybody or any markings out there. So, but again, we'll have Chris reach out to Dave, have Dave reach out to them, and we'll get some answers. So for our next meeting, so we can. Chris is going to reach out to South Hadley as well. So for our next meeting, we'll have some more information, and we can do what we need to do to kind of again move forward.
And all the information I have gotten has come from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, their transportation department, just like the email says that I forwarded to you, everybody.
Yep. All right. Next is our ambulance form letter. Yep. Does everybody else have a copy or no?
Sent out, I think, this morning, like that.
Does everybody have a copy of the letter?
I read it.
I read both pieces of correspondence. It was an abatement policy letter and a patient contract letter.
You think on the letter we should have Comstar's information, their phone number and address? Because we're asking them to contact them, but it'd be helpful to contact them or forward it to Comstar. Maybe we can include their contact information. Yeah. Okay. No, I know. That's just a recommendation. Yeah. So, Jen or Jay, that you agree or disagree, or anything else you want to add?
You're muted, Jen.
I said no, I would agree.
Okay.
I should not take cold medicine before a meeting.
I have no problem with the current two documents or modifying it as what Glenn said.
Right. So Chris will make the changes and we'll just look at the next meeting and go from there. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Does any of the board members have anything else they want to bring up?
Yeah, Glenn, we need to discuss the school collective bargaining and who is going to be on that. Jay has been serving with them for collective bargaining as his role in chair. However, the Education Reform Act specifically states that it would be the town administrator, his or her designee, or the chair of the select board and his or her designee. The school committee is wondering who we are going to be appointing for that position.
All right. So I know Jay was previously, or Jay currently is. And I remember
But by law, he should not be. That's what they're
I know
doing.
that's why I'm making
No, that is.
to the point that when Jay was actually the chair.
What Jen said is completely false.
Okay.
It says that the chair of the select board or his appointee will be the representative.
Correct. So what I said was actually correct because our chair has not said if he is going to take it or appoint somebody.
Okay. All right. So as I was saying, I know Jay was appointed as the current person from the previous board, and he was the chairperson at the time. Then you were appointed by this board to be the liaison to the school committee from this board, right?
Yes.
All right. Where are they with contracts? I mean, not getting into it, but as far as like a time frame, not to discuss anything.
They are still meeting and discussing.
All right. And Jay, I know at previous meetings you have indicated that you won't be running again for the select board. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And if you want to know, the school committee is meeting tonight in executive session. And they've already sent me the information. Somebody else, you're going to change it, then I guess you better do it.
All right. Well, where I am with that, and like I said, I know Jay is currently that is you in that position, but also with the understanding that this could go beyond possibly your term as a select board member as far as the contract, and with Jen being the liaison at this point to the school committee, I think it makes logical sense that she becomes that person at this point. I don't know if you have any feelings regards to that. I think that's both of you. I'm gonna reach out to both of you because I definitely like some input, but just kind of thinking to myself out loud, and those are some of the key points that I'm looking at right now. Unless there's something else that I'm missing, please let me know.
Well, the school and the union is planning on having this completed before 30 June. That's what they're currently planning. And that's, according to the new bylaws, that's when my term would end. If we don't get the new bylaws passed, then you can ask Mr. Martin, then my term would end on 15 May. Correct, Chris?
Whenever we hold the election.
Which is 15 May.
Projected to be May 15th right now, but we don't know what'll happen with COVID still around at that point.
Yeah, I understand that. Everything's subject to change on dates because of COVID. But I'm going by the current bylaws and the proposed bylaws. That's what I'm going by.
Right. So currently, It
Third
is
Monday of May.
third Monday of May, which is, Jay, as you indicated, I'm assuming you are correct, I don't have a calendar in front of me, is May 15th. So again, with that said, contract would have another 45 days or so before it had to be approved. Again, I just look at, the contract could be done before then, but if it's not, then we're kind of, we're having someone else come in play, whether it's myself or Jen to look at it. So again, that's just where I am, just based on that. So, but also, like I said, Jen is the liaison, so I don't know if we need someone being the liaison to the school committee and also have someone being part of the contract negotiations. I'd rather have the same person doing it, I guess.
That is up to you.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure that we're following what the ERA says if we're expecting the school to follow what the ERA says.
Okay. So Jen, let me ask you a question. If are you available? If so be you are that person. Are you available tonight to take part in their school committee meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that'd be my decision at this time, is to appoint Jen Silva to negotiations with the school committee regarding the contract for the teachers. So again, that's just based on the information that I have at this time, and as what I noted in regards to the possibility of Jay and not being a select board member after May 15th, when a contract negotiation could go possibly beyond that. Even though the date is June 30th, sometimes you can't agree on a contract. It could continue beyond that June 30th date. So, all right. Anything else, Jen?
No, that was all I had on the school side.
Okay. Anything?
No, what I'll do is I'll forward the email that I have pertaining to tonight to Chris, and then he can forward it to Jen, so I don't violate the open meeting laws.
All right. Well, thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that, and Jay, really thank you for your part with the school committee already in the negotiations. I definitely appreciate that. Stepping up from the last board as well, being part of that. Lastly, the only thing I wanted to bring up too is that I'd like this board to reach out to the Board of Health and have them really look at the vaccination for COVID-19 and what our town is doing in regards to it. I've been listening to some of the media, and some of the other towns or cities are taking steps to being able to vaccinate the residents of their town or their city. So I'd like to connect with our Board of Health, the chair, Mr. Bombardier, and kind of look at where we are and what steps that we're going to be taking as a town moving forward in regards to the vaccination. It's definitely a topic that needs to be discussed, and I think we owe it to the residents of Granby to kind of have a plan for them moving forward.
Okay, so you're talking about our general residents, not our first responders?
Our general residents, our first responders, my understanding, have already had the availability to get that, and that's through the state as far as their the state's time frame in regards to it. So a lot of the other people are starting to come up as part of the time frame for the state. So I like for us to be prepared and get ready for it, and have an action plan in place.
I agree with that.
So,
that's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best policy.
All right. So I'll ask. Well, we can designate Chris to reach out to the Board of Health and maybe set up a meeting with them for our next meeting, and they can kind of let us know what's going on or what the what their board plans on doing in regards to it. Just an updated information to this, to the select board. I know I have been getting questions. I'm sure some other people have as well, and I'd definitely like to, have some answers for residents that are inquiring about it. I think it's our responsibility.
I agree with you.
All right. Unless anybody has anything further, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I will second Jen's motion, and the information for the executive session has been forwarded
Thank
to
you, Jack.
Chris.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
Yep. Thank you, folks. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks. Have a good night. Stay safe.
Good night.
Good night.